Yo, people, welcome back to another YouTube video. You already know what time it is. It's time for the London Club's Carnage show, obviously in pre-recorded fashion. And it's been a week, more than a week actually, since I've seen these boys. Obviously, international break took over. For me, you know what I'm like. You already know the drill on this channel. I don't really fuck with international football too heavy. Especially when you see the Nations League, you see Courtois coming out, the extra games being played. It's not really a real competition for me. It's just extra icing on top of the cake. I'm not really asked about it. It's not really important. And qualifiers, well, listen, I don't really watch the qualifiers for FA Cup. You know what I mean? I wouldn't really sit down and watch too many Champions League qualifiers. I'm not going to watch the Euros qualifiers either and watch England disappoint me.
No, but
Toby,
Nations League is good though.
Nations League is, I mean, they put up good matchups, but for me personally, the tournament doesn't mean anything for me. Like, it's just there's no history to it. It's just it's something new that they've just created. It's like a Super League of Nations, isn't it? So for me,
but it's good though, because it makes it. I think I mentioned this before. It makes international football way more palatable, man, because the competitions actually mean something, and you're essentially putting the better sides against each other.
Is that not like the Super League though?
Not really, because the Super League,
come on, bro.
The Super League. There was no sort of barrier to entry. I mean, there was literally no entry point for some of the teams who are outperforming the bigger sides in their respective leagues. Whereas the Nations League, it's all built on a meritocracy. You win your group, and then you get put forward into the tournament in the summer, and the winner of that tournament. I can't even remember what happens next, but you know, England.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know what happens next.
England topped their group, and they went. England topped their group, and they went through to the what you would call it, the summer finals last year, and they lost to the Netherlands. Do you remember? They lost to the Netherlands 2-1 at the time. So it's built on a meritocracy, man, and that's good. So you have teams who are earning their way to get to the final stages, and you have better matchups as a result.
I don't know. It's something that I'm not really too invested in, really, unless it's a World Cup or it's the Euros, AFCON, Copa, one of those ones. I'm not really in it. But I mean, Corey, bro,
you don't watch AFCON. Who you fooling?
I would watch AFCON. AFCON feels like it hasn't been on in a while. It's back this January though. AFCON's good. The quality of teams in there is good, and I think Odoi could be changing allegiance to Ghana maybe as well.
So how many?
My 1v1 demon.
How many matches did you watch in the last African Nations Cup?
Maybe like 2. Not many. No, but that's to be fair. To be Algeria. To be fair, they put it at. Bro, don't do this, bro. Bro, to be fair, they put it at a bad time. They put it on during the Prem. That's not a great time to put it on. To be fair, they do put it at a bad time. It's literally in the middle of the season. They really should have it. Why don't they have it across with the Euros? I don't know. They should have it in the summer.
They put it in the. I don't know why. Because
maybe it's too hot. I don't know.
I remember I did the research. I can't remember. I did the research. I think in some places, weather plays a factor. But really and truly, they did it in the summer when Algeria won it back in 2019 or 2020? I can't remember where we got to the semis. I think it was 2019, and it was good. It was good. We all watched it. It was really good. I say really good. I'm exaggerating. Some of the matches were poor. Let me not lie. Some of the matches were poor, but it's better scheduling in the summer. It doesn't interrupt the season, and players can be released with their club's blessing. Whereas now, in January, back to January again, it's like, players have to be released from their clubs and miss 2 free league matches and stuff like that. And like you said, only the real sort of like African born or African ethnicity sort of people will watch it. Whereas if you did it in the summer when there's no other football on, it should garner more views.
Yeah, that's what I would expect anyway. Obviously, since we all last spoke as well, it was club football that kind of took over, not even internationals, because Newcastle really got the dream. Corey's, I know Corey's jealous.
Jealous man.
I'm jealous as well, man.
It's tough. Listen, I can't be too critical of them. Do you know what I mean? If it was us, I'd feel exactly the same way that they do. And to be fair to them, in terms of 2 ownerships in this league that are the worst, it's West Ham and Newcastle for me. So for them to finally get rid of Ashley, fair play to them. But again, it opens up a can of worms because at the minute we're trying to get into a European place, and all of a sudden Newcastle could have a massive influx of signings, or at least money in January. You hear stuff like Coutinho. Again, I'm sure everyone's got their own opinion about that. The biggest one for me is the manager, because obviously Bruce is out of the way. Are they going to go? They're going to go Lampard, inexperienced but on the up with a bit of money, or are they going to try and go big guns and go Conte? So you could have two possible ex-Chelsea managers in the hot seat, but we'll see, man. I'm hearing stuff that's positive though. Like if you're talking about getting almost unlimited funds, they're talking Ralph Rangnick bringing him in as like a director of football. That's the way that I think a lot of us would have thought. That's how you build the club. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, man.
Rangnick is an incredible coup if they bring him in as a director of football. My opinion on Lampard now coming in, I personally don't think it's the right fit. I seen Lampard linked, I seen Gerrard linked. Lampard for me, he's not. I don't know if it's a good fit, because if you're Newcastle now, you're going to have to make a massive turnover of players. Look at Chelsea when they got the financial backing from Roman. Look at Man City, 10, 12 players coming in. Newcastle are currently 19th. It's going to take 10, 12 players coming in minimum in the first round of transfer window, maybe not January, but in the summer, for them to even become a mid-table team potentially, or just in the top half. You know, you look at Man City, they brought in Bellamy, they brought in Joe, they brought in Santa Cruz. That put them in the Europa League spots to start challenging Tottenham on the last day of the season for Champions League places and maybe just missing out. Newcastle are going to have to go in a similar direction to get into the top 8. Villa, Leeds, West Ham, Leicester, just to be competing with these teams, Tottenham, Arsenal, they're going to have 10, 12 signings. And is Lampard the right guy to make 10, 12 signings and actually put them into a system quickly enough? I don't think so. He hasn't got the experience to do that. You need a manager with a steady philosophy or a steady system, a steady knowledge of being a manager, experience behind him, to then have all that change and uproar behind the scenes. You've already got so much change going on. To have another rookie who also, again, has not really experienced too much as well, I think it's just, I don't think it makes any sense. So I don't really think that appointment makes great sense to me, unless they're bringing in a lot of young players. And maybe even then, I mean, is he best equipped to improve loads of young players? He's improved a couple. This
is the thing, Matisse, with Lampard. He always gets linked with like a Palace, right? Rebuild job, Newcastle, blank sheet. I don't understand. He's got to have another job. He's got to get the ball rolling again. You see what I mean? I think
he does.
I think, and Newcastle might be one of them ones where he could go to. He could bring in whoever he wants to. And obviously, work with Rangnick if he came in. And if it didn't work out, everyone might turn around and say, "Well, A, he's still a young manager. B, again, Newcastle are in a state of transition, so it's kind of a little bit. I think there's a bit of safety there, if I'm honest. I don't think there's going to be massive expectation. And I think you get the right signings in, he could finish next season and Newcastle top off. So all of a sudden you've gone from nearly 18th, 17th to 10th, 9th, and that's improvement. So his resume will look decent as well, but he's got to get back into it. I do think Lampard long term could be a decent coach, but he's got to try and find the right job.
Toby, what do you feel about Lampard going in there?
Absolutely stupid. Doesn't make sense. You've just explained it. Look how he struggled merging the host of players that you lot brought into your team last season and finding a way to make them work. Admittedly, some of those players are not performing and they haven't performed under Thomas Tuchel, but why give it to a rookie? What's he done in his career to tell you that he's the one to propel Newcastle to where they need to be? Why are you leaving that to chance? With Lampard, there will always be a maybe, X, Y, Z. Like, in some cases, just go for tried and tested. Like, they can get the way they can get a manager who has experience and has been around the block, who can also play a positive brand of football. Like, there are better managers than Frank Lampard out there. I don't really understand what he's done to even be in consideration for this job. I don't get it. I proper don't get it. And I'm not even hating on the guy.
Even Mark Hughes at Man City had a lot more experience, isn't it?
Bro,
when he was a lot.
Blackburn. Mark Hughes, Blackburn. How many top 8 finishes did he have with Blackburn? And then after that, he left Blackburn to go to Man City to flipping Villa, Fulham, etc. So my thing is this: I just think Frank Lampard, he's not. What credentials does he have to have this job? None. He has no credentials for this job, and
That's
it
the mad thing.
But it's the truth.
I personally think I think they can get better. And that's coming from a Chelsea fan, do you know what I mean? Who loves Lampard as a player, as a person. But if you're Newcastle and you're bringing in Ralph Rangnick, that is one of the best director of footballs in the world you probably are getting on your hands, or at least, you know, one of the most knowledgeable as well. So for me, it makes more sense to go and get in maybe one of the German coaches as well to sit alongside him. Someone like that. Graham Potter at Brighton, I would say, is a much better manager to go and get. That's a manager that's proved himself now at Brighton. That's a manager that plays a certain way, plays a certain style. I think you put Graham Potter and Ralph Rangnick together at Newcastle, and you can definitely afford to get Potter out of Brighton. Money is no issue now. Go and get one of the best managers, you know, in the lower half of the table who have been showing what they can do at this level, and put them in that seat, because that makes a lot more sense to me. And I think Lampard, I always looked at Lampard and said, maybe if he goes, previously I wanted him at Celtic, but then I don't know, because it looks like Rangers have taken over there. But I think Celtic would have been a decent one if they had a bit of backing, a bit of money behind them. It's pretty straightforward in Scotland. But even if he was to go to maybe a Brighton after a Potter, put him there in a very stable club. You know what I mean? You already got a pretty, but you still got to work hard to keep them in the division. I think that
I don't think he'd do it. I don't think he'd do it, mate. There's something about Lampard. He just doesn't fancy anything where it's like there's a little bit of risk. And you see the jobs that he's been linked with. He's been linked on name. Let's be honest. Everyone goes, it's Lampard. He's young. He's English. He's Chelsea legend. This, that, and the other. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like jury's out. I think he's got something there, but he's got to go and he's got to take the right job. And I've got to see progression. You see with Steven Gerrard. Like for me, I always map it out and say he's done it very, very well. He's done it under the radar. He's done it at Rangers. And now if he gets linked with a Prem job, might get linked with Newcastle. People might say, okay, I can get that. But Lampard, you throw him in from Derby to Chelsea, and all of a sudden he's got to go Newcastle and deal with that. I don't know. It's a risk.
Do you know? I think the best thing Lampard could do, to be honest, is be a number two to someone who's world class. That would probably be his best move, in my opinion.
Well, JT's done it, hasn't he? JT's done a couple of number two jobs, so
that's how I would see it. But I mean, moving on, so I'm guessing you guys feel very threatened. You kind of alluded to it slightly, Corey. Obviously, it's a shame Lee's not here for the Arsenal perspective as well. But Toby, I'm guessing Tottenham as well. Maybe not immediately worried because it's going to take a couple seasons, but long term, you're probably a little bit shook of what's going to happen here with Newcastle, isn't it?
Yeah. But again, it's dependent on who they bring in. Ralph Rangnick is already something to be worried about because of how good he is and what he's done at the clubs he's been at: Hoffenheim, Salzburg, Leipzig. He's built up a really good reputation in terms of how his teams play, the managers that he likes to go for, and the players that he tries to scout, and even the influence he's had on some of the top managers in world football today. One of which is your manager, Tommy Tuchel as well. So for me, it's all about personnel. If they get the right personnel in behind the scenes and in the coaching staff, recruitment staff, sporting director, etc., then you have to be worried about them, because giving a club with cash means nothing if they don't know how to use it. Giving a club with cash when they know how to use it is a problem.
Yeah. I think if you look, I mean, it's a difficult one as well. If you look at Ralph Rangnick, I mean, Luis Campos is another one as well, who are rated very highly. He put that Monaco team together, that Lille team as well, that won the league before, not the last one, the one before that. There's some really good director of footballs out there, that can really run.
Why did you say that, by the way? Director of football. They're a really good director of football. You keep saying director of footballs.
Shut up, Toby. Sick of your shit.
On that point, though, it's with the Newcastle thing and being kind of scared of them, I don't think it really comes into play for probably West Ham, Spurs, Arsenal, Leicester for maybe 2 seasons, maybe a season and a half. Again, depends on, like we touched on, director of footballs and manager and stuff like that. But I think the problem is, and what we'll see is, when they are able to make that leap, and they possibly even a Europa Conference League or something like that, they are the one team out of all those teams, probably 4 or 5, that can consolidate and seriously consolidate. So where West Ham, you know, we'll go and get Europa League. We've done all right to bring recruitment in, but we need a little bit more. They'll say, all right, we're going to go and build a European squad now, and we'll do it like this and we'll do it like that. And money's no object. That's where it will become a bit testing. And I think people will slowly get the when we see Newcastle climb up and go, can't compete with that. And then it's a point as well. They go top 4, and people can't compete with that either. So
for me, obviously being in the top 4 well, not even comfortably, but we're in the top 4. We've been scraping it last few years. I'm not too worried about them yet. Obviously, it's going to take a while for them to break in, but it's going to be very interesting when they finally do get up there. I do like the fact that they have an established fan base as well. They're quite a big club in terms of support, so we're not going to see what we've seen with Man City, which is a little
City
bit
vibes. Yeah,
I'm not instead too many shots, but there's certain games where you're like, there's a lot of empty seats here, and it's a little bit annoying that, listen, you've got all these great players, all this great success, and you're seeing it doesn't really feel like, I mean, obviously it's appreciated by the guys that have been going for a long time, and there's a group of them, but you just want to see the atmosphere. You want to see something packed out, and Newcastle are going to bring that to the table. So when they are in the Champions League at some point, that is going to be a madness in terms of just everybody. It's going to be crazy. Imagine Newcastle in the Champions League now at home to Barcelona, centric. That atmosphere is going to be ridiculous. Probably
they did have their years in Europe in the 90s.
Yeah,
though, so.
I'd say it's probably going to be up there with the best atmosphere in Europe when they really rise up there. It's going to be incredible
if they rise up.
But I'm not going to.
It will take a while for Champions League. It just will.
Really? Do you think it will take more than 2 seasons? Two
Yeah, I think it's over 3.
I don't think it could, but I don't think it should. I think with the resources they have, with the capacity to spend based off how much money they banked over the past couple of seasons, it's all dependent on who they bring in behind the scenes and in their coaching staff. If they bring in the right people, they can start the work now, and they can be a force next season. Things can happen overnight. Leicester went from being fighting for relegation in one season to winning the league the next season. Do you get what I'm saying? It can happen. We went from Pochettino one season scraping 6th spot to then challenging for a league title. They have the resources and capability to be a real problem next season. They can do it. It's a lot of work, no doubt. There's a lot of dross that they need to get out of that team. So for that reason and that reason only, it could take some time, but they can have immediate impact next season. 100%. They can. Yeah. They can.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I just want to see if they do it right as well, because obviously you could splash a lot of money on it, but of course they need to. I think they will improve the resources, the training ground, things like that around it. So just for the city, it's going to be great for the people as well in that part of the country. But moving on to the other debate that I had just for the second part of the show, which already Toby was calling me out on Twitter over after my post yesterday for the Ballon d'Or. The nominees are in the 30 names. It's a long list. Because you're already shaking your head.
I know what's coming, man. I'll just get on with it. Let's do it.
You know what's mad? I was meant to do an overrated or underrated. I still need to prioritize the show. I was meant to do an overrated or underrated and just reviewing that list, because that list is in the gutter, man. It's scary the amount of players that underperformed last season. And it's scary the amount of players that haven't even shown Ballon d'Or nomination form, and they're in because the threshold was so low. Oh God, I'm disgusted, man.
All right, so I'm gonna get the list up.
I'm just getting my phone, man. I'm waiting for it because I had a little peek.
So you just mentioned about you feel like a drop in quality, right, with the nominees. So I'm gonna go through it. So you've got Azpilicueta, you got Barella from Inter Milan, Benzema, Bonucci, De Bruyne, Chiellini, Cristiano Ronaldo, Diaz, Donnarumma, Bruno Fernandes, Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, Jorginho, Kane, Kante, Kajer, I think the Denmark centre back, AC Milan, Lewandowski, Lukaku, Mahrez, Martinez, Inter Milan, Mbappe, Messi, Modric, Gerard Moreno at Villarreal. I think he had a really good season in La Liga. Spanish striker. Mason Mount, Neymar, Pedri. That's nuts. Mohamed Salah, Sterling, Suarez. Sterling on that list. Sterling after the season he had in the Premier League, that is
ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Ballon d'Or nominee. That for me, a couple of them names. Now I'm starting to. I didn't check the whole list, innit? I just seen like the bigger names. But to see Sterling on that list, that is alarming for me. That just goes to show how far we've fallen here. Pedri is another massive shock. I think he was good in the Euros, and he's obviously played the Olympics and whatnot.
It's not just the Euros though. He was one of the very few shining lights for Barca. Like Pedri's sick. Like that one, and even then, I'm like,
still
Ballon d'Or.
What did he really do? Like, did he?
Oh, come on, bro. I know what you're saying. The standard has dropped massively. I don't know what they're basing this off of though. There's a couple of names on there where I'm like, I don't know if these players perform consistently well for them to be.
They didn't. Some of them didn't. They really didn't. To be on this list, I think it's really poor. I can't lie. Some of the names on here, but we'll get into. I'm not gonna hold it up any longer. Jorginho, right? And the thing is with Jorginho is I feel like it started to be. People are painting it as a picture where if he was to win now, it would be a disgrace to football. Do you think is it that deep, Toby?
Yes,
in
it
terms
is that deep because he's not been the best player on the planet. It is that deep because he's not been the best player on the planet.
Was Modric the best player on the planet when he won it?
Modric
wasn't.
Modric was one of the top three. Is Jorginho top three? No, he isn't. Modric had a stellar World Cup. Yeah, his team got to the final.
Jorginho had a stellar Euros.
Won the Champions League. Had a ridiculous performance in the Champions League final, and easily the best central midfielder in Spain. Yeah, and was still like number one, number two best central midfielder on the planet. Like
and Jorginho's been the best central midfielder this year
on the planet.
Well, who's been better in the Euros, in the Champions League? Who's been
better?
So
you can say from January 2021,
who's been better?
Jorginho is the best midfielder on the planet.
Consistently, yeah. Who's been better?
Oh my God.
Who's been better? Who has been better? Name me someone who's been better. In the Champions League, you just said Modric had a stellar performance in the Champions League. Jorginho was stellar in the Champions League run, and he was stellar in the Euros. He played every single minute for a reason.
Do you think Jorginho has performed better than someone like a Paul Pogba in 2021?
Pogba was great in the Euros. Pogba wasn't
great in the Euros? Really?
No, he was great in the Euros. He was great in the Euros. He was great in the Euros. Pogba wasn't in the Champions League, so that does dent it a little bit. Europa League, they got to the final. I can't remember how great he was in Europa League. I think he had some big moments against AC Milan, was it? Yeah. But they're not in the Champions League, so I think that kind of dents him a little bit.
Batiste, this is what I'm saying. Like, fair enough. We have to weigh up performances. Cool. Weigh up the performances. But has Jorginho been the best player on the planet? Has he done enough to say to you, yeah, you are literally an outlier? Has he done enough in his?
No, I'm not saying he's the favorite. I'm just saying if he was to win it, I don't think it's a disgrace for him to win it.
And you know what?
I think it's too far.
The Luka Modric and maybe Corey, the Luka Modric thing, yeah, the Luka Modric thing. Fair enough. Like I think Modric winning it over Ronaldo and Messi that year, you can argue it. Do you know what I'm saying? You can definitely argue that 100%. And in some case, and if you're asking me, my heart of hearts, do I think Modric deserved it? No, I don't think.
Because Messi and Ronaldo put up higher heights than they put up this year.
I don't think he deserved it. But he was definitely in the conversation. And I'm not mad at him winning it. I'm not mad at Luka Modric winning that Ballon d'Or. I am mad at Jorginho winning it. And it's not because he's Chelsea, etc. It's not. Because I can go back a couple years ago where N'Golo Kante should have been probably top 5, top 6 players on the planet. And if he finished, I don't know, 5th spot in Ballon d'Or, nobody's complaining. But Jorginho winning this.
Do you think we've become goal and assists obsessed? Or what?
It's not about goal and assists.
What is it about then? Who should be winning it for you then?
This year, Lewandowski.
Lewandowski.
It's not about goal and assists. It's about for me, a Ballon d'Or winner, you have to do something that is so far from the realms of a normal player. Luka Modric in 2018 was head and shoulders the best midfielder on the planet. Head and shoulders. Lewandowski broke Gerd Muller's record this season and should have won it last year. It didn't cancel. Yeah, Lionel Messi has played like a man possessed from around probably November till the end of last year and won the Copa America. Yeah, Jorginho, cool, key cog in Chelsea winning the Champions League.
Well, Jorginho's won more than Messi this year, so Messi's achieved the Copa America. We're not going to. That's not going to get
Chelsea winning the Champions League and Italy winning the Euros. Cool, fantastic. Yeah.
And a top performer in both those teams.
Agreed for 2021. Agreed. And whereas before I was arguing his inclusion in being like part of the nominee, but part of the nominations. When I'm looking at this list now and looking at the mud that I'm seeing, okay, fair enough. It makes sense. It makes sense. Cool. If this is the standard, it makes sense. But I will not give him I'm not giving him my vote for Ballon d'Or. And I think if he wins it, it's a sham. It's a sham. If he wins it, it's a sham.
But players like a lot of people are starting to make the argument that it's now impossible for defenders, for goalkeepers, and for defensive midfielders to win this. And is that true? Is it, Corey? Is it true that it has now become impossible for a defender, goalkeeper, or defensive midfielder to win this competition? Because there's always going to be someone that puts up 40 GA a season.
Yeah. I agree.
Erling Haaland is now going to go in stat pad next year, and he's going to win it because he's got goals and assists.
He's not going to win it.
My personal opinion on the Ballon d'Or is it has to be the player that's the most influential. So it can be a midfielder. You talk about Modric. I felt like there were games where he ran the show, and I know you'll say Jorginho is very effective for what he does, and he is, but he's not. Him performing well, I don't think that necessarily fully changed how Italy were going to get on in the Euros. He was just he was an effective cog in a system. Whereas you look at some of the players on the list here, Messi, yes, okay, goals and assists, etc., and you can chalk it up, but very influential in games. Lewandowski, game changer. Toby mentioned Paul Pogba, again, a player that can literally influence a game like that and change it. And Jorginho is just not that type of player for me. So, I actually really rate Jorginho, if I'm honest. But if you're talking about Ballon d'Or, it has to be someone that can turn the game. So if you're a defender, and people may have looked at Van Dijk a couple of years ago, again, unlikely to go and beat Ronaldo or Messi. But in terms of influence, absolutely incredible. So it can happen, but
I think I remember when Van Dijk was up for it last year. I mean those years, I would have still picked like Messi because I think Messi and Ronaldo have played at a supernatural level for decades. Like, I'm sorry for the other players, but people say, oh yeah, go. They should because what they're doing is not normal. People are getting used to it and thinking, oh yeah, no, but Messi and Ronaldo win it every year because they are doing things that are not normal. Messi scoring 91 goals in the calendar year. Ronaldo is he's like the all-time top scorer in Champions League history. 3 back-to-back Champions League titles. Like, they're doing things that are not normal in any era of football. It's not normal. So when we're seeing things being dominated by goals, etc., that case should be put to bed when it comes to Ronaldo and Messi, because what they are doing, the rate they're scoring, the rate they're providing, the level they're playing at across all competitions is supernatural. But if Virgil van Dijk could have won it in 2018, nobody is complaining, apart from maybe a few little kids on YouTube who have agendas. No one's complaining because everyone can see the level that Liverpool went to when Virgil van Dijk came into that team. Like, they literally went from scraping top 4 to Champions League finalists again and Premier League contenders. Like, the impact was insane. And I don't get that feeling with Jorginho. I just don't. You won the Champions League, it's cool. But for me, I don't look at Jorginho and say, this guy is irreplaceable for Chelsea. I don't believe that, bro. I don't believe he is.
Yeah.
Van Dijk, for the years he was at the top for Liverpool, he was irreplaceable. By a country mile, there was no centre back that could get close to this guy.
I'm not going to put Jorginho on the level of. I'm not going to put Jorginho on the level of Van Dijk and Modric. But I do think he is very underappreciated in the difference that he does make.
Probably
When you
is.
take
Probably is,
him
by me.
out, when you take him out, you're gonna see very quickly how things roll sometimes without him in the team. Sometimes you are gonna
take Chelsea leading up to the Champions League. For me, N'Golo Kante was the most instrumental in that entire run-up. If you took him out,
but then he didn't. The problem is with Kante is he didn't have the performances for France to back it up. He was poor for France.
True,
that's the issue.
Yeah,
that's where
I'm just giving you an example. If Kante performs like that, and France say they go and win the Euros,
well then Kante,
yeah. But I'm saying because N'Golo is such an outlier in what he does. I'm not saying Jorginho isn't. He's very good, but it just is. I look at someone just to take the game by the scruff of the neck or completely change it. And I think what will happen is when this era is over of Messi, Ronaldo, the reason isn't just because they're getting goals and assists. It's because the level that they're getting at and the amount of game-changing moments that they've had is why they are where they're at. But the conversation will change when they go up because people will start to say, actually, do you know what? Mbappe did all right in League One. It was fine. But then other players have been better here. And I think you'll start to see defenders and midfielders get back in. But we're just in a mad era, mate. Like, Kaká was the last one to win it. Well, aside from Modric, so
like it's not even like a biased thing as well. Because I looked at that list and I'm seeing like Kevin De Bruyne, and you know how much I love Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne should not be winning, or should not even be considered for a Ballon d'Or or winning it, because he's not been Ballon d'Or level. We know what a Ballon d'Or level Kevin De Bruyne looks like, because we can use the 19-20 season, the 17-18 season. These are two examples of what a Ballon d'Or.
The list is too big, isn't it? I feel like they need to shrink it. The list
but
is
even
too big.
Even if they shrink it, we're hearing that all the talk is that Jorginho should win it. Should win it. Oh my God.
I don't have him as my favorite. I do have Lewandowski as my favorite, but of course, if Jorginho wins, it's like if a Tottenham player was up there for it and maybe he wasn't meant to be favorite, but if he wins it, you're going to be shameless and you're going to love it. Are you not?
No,
you've got to, mate. You have to.
You got to rub it in. It's going to be, because I know if he wins it, the tears I'm going to see online.
God, if I see one Jorginho compilation, mate, on Twitter, you Chelsea lot on Twitter, you love it.
If he wins it, it is going to be beautiful.
Well, you know what it is? I have no qualms. Like, that is just you being a supporter. I have no qualms with Chelsea fans supporting Jorginho to win it. But when you start coming to me telling me he deserves to win it, that's where I'm gonna argue. If you say, okay, I'm looking at this list now. Yeah, Jorginho, he deserves to be there. But I don't think he's gonna win it. I don't think he deserves to win it. But I'm gonna root for him anyway. You have my blessing. Not that my blessing means much, but when you're coming at me with why he should win it over Messi, why he should win it over Lewandowski, that's where you lose me.
Where would you place Jorginho if you was to place him? Because I don't think I don't place him outside the top 5 for sure. I don't think he deserves to be outside the top 5.
That list is mudded, bro. Let me see that list. 1 second. 2021.
So I'll read it. So you've got Azpilicueta, Barella, who obviously was part of the Italian successful team and Inter Milan. So he did win Euros and the league. Yeah. Benzema, Bonucci, Juventus, De Bruyne, Chiellini, Ronaldo, Diaz, Donnarumma, Bruno Fernandes, Foden, Erling Haaland, Jorginho, Kane, Kante, Kjaer from AC Milan, Lewandowski, Lukaku, Mahrez, Martinez, Mbappe, Messi, Modric, Morello, Mount, Neymar, Pedri, Salah, Sterling, and Suarez. I think on that list, I'm surprised. You know what? Two admissions that have pissed me off, right? Two admissions. Because Sterling's on here, and Pedri for me shouldn't be on here either, in my opinion. And there's probably a couple more. How is Mendy not on here?
Agreed.
If we're really talking about someone, and who else was it? There was someone else where Lukaku. How is Lukaku not on here? MVP in Serie A.
Lukaku
is he on there?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, okay. Where is he? Okay, Lukaku is on there. I was gonna say, but I think Mendy should be on there. I really do think Mendy should be on there ahead of Sterling 100%.
Mendy should be on there. On there. Like someone like Benzema, for instance, in 2021, he has been bonkers.
Yeah,
bonkers.
He's bonkers right now. Have you seen the season? The way he started.
He's bonkers right now.
Best player in the world right now,
bro.
Yeah,
bonkers. You get what I'm saying? Like, if I'm looking at midfielders, the list is short, man. Like, if I look at all these midfielders here, because of the impact he's had, then yeah, I would say Jorginho. You pick him ahead of the rest. I mean,
you said Pogba. Pogba's not on this list.
That's my point.
But does that not? Well, yeah, Pogba should be.
The list don't make sense, and I'm not someone who dick rides Paul Pogba. I like him, but when he's not playing to the level that I think he should be playing at,
like Wolves away, he got absolutely stripped.
I'm criticizing. But to be fair, he was playing midfield by himself.
Yeah, he's playing too deep.
But,
I'm being mean there.
If I'm seeing Sterling on this list, like Sterling on this list, Moreno on this list, Lautaro, Mahrez on this list, then why am I not seeing Pogba? As I said, it's because people are having these moments in the Champions League, cool, etc., etc. But like for me, Ballon d'Or is like you set a standard consistently over that period, and I don't think a lot of these players have set a Ballon d'Or level standard over the period in which they're being judged. I don't think they have. But as I said, the threshold this year is lowered because of the drop off in quality. We've seen players like Sadio Mane fall off a cliff. We've seen players like Kevin De Bruyne be wishy-washy as opposed to his usual peak self. Yeah. We see Mbappe this season. He's not scored in like 7 games for PSG. He didn't have a good Euros. And now it's off the back of a trailblazing season last year. Yeah. So all of these things need to be taken into consideration. Like it's annoying. If the Ballon d'Or was the start of last season to the end of last season, Jorginho would not be winning it. Jorginho wouldn't even be anywhere close to it, in my opinion. He wouldn't be.
He'd probably still make the nominees, but he wouldn't be winning. No.
The first 6 months, he was an afterthought.
He wasn't playing, to be honest. So he wasn't really playing. It was Kante who was playing in his position. Yeah.
So for me, it's like.
But it's always been the calendar year, though, isn't it? It's been the start of the year to the end.
That's what I'm saying. The period in which the Ballon d'Or is judged, I don't think the players that we normally expect to hit the heights have hit the heights that they should be hitting. I don't know, man. The whole thing
I just look at the old lists like Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká. You just used to have so much more ballers on the list. I don't really feel like there's many ballers on this list anymore. It's a little bit dead, but it is what it is. I mean, Corey, who do you have winning it? Lewandowski, I'm guessing as well.
I did. I feel like I should go Messi though. To be fair, like,
really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is with Lewandowski, he should have won it last year, shouldn't he? Do you know what I mean? His goal record is unbelievable, but Messi's performances in a struggling Barcelona team were still exceptional. And you see the drop off now, albeit I know a couple of players have gone out the door. You see how big an influence he has. So I had him first. Lewandowski would probably be second. It's either of those two for me to win it, and then third. Third will probably be Jorginho, you know, because what you see now is they look at it and they just say, "Have you won a Champions League? How far you got in a European competition? You know, internationally, blah 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 blah." That's why Phil Foden had an awful Euros, by the way, and he's still on that list just because he got to the final with Man City. So, and I like Phil Foden. We all know he's a good player, but again, the standard is dropping so much.
For me, it's not about the team achievements. It's what you've done in that team. If Jorginho didn't lead tackles and interceptions, in those two teams that he played in, then I wouldn't be putting Jorginho in anything on the bench for those two teams.
I'm looking at this list now. Yeah, Mbappe deserves. Lukaku deserves.
Yeah.
N'Golo Kante. Yeah, I guess so. But again, debatable. Like
he's the same as Jorginho, isn't he? He only really started kicking off.
In fact, he's not, because Jorginho's
not even the same, because he had an awful Euros
2021. But and
he played less games as well. He didn't play as many games. He was injured a bit more.
Phil Foden,
Bruno Fernandes.
I'm looking at this list. Bruno Fernandes, I can understand that.
Yeah,
he shouldn't win it. But I can understand him being on the list. Yeah? I can understand him being on the list. Aspilicueta, really?
But that's what I'm telling you. That's literally what it feels like. Yes, he's been consistent, but it's because he has got to that Champions League final and he's won it. Like that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
Aspilicueta, he got to the semi-finals with Spain, but
Barella won a league title, and of course Italy won the Euros and stuff. And I like Barella. I think he's quality. But yeah, Ballon d'Or. Luis Suarez though, he deserves it.
Mahrez deserves to be on there as well.
Even Neymar, I didn't really check his stats, but I know he did a Mazza for them in the Champions League.
Neymar feels like one of the players just automatically get in
when he played. But yeah, Neymar also like I'll fight anyone. He should by default he should be on that list. I'll fight anyone. I'll fight anyone for that one. So, yeah.
I think Pedri, Sterling.
Mate, you hate Pedri, actually. Like,
I don't hate Pedri. I just don't think Pedri. I don't think he's done enough to be on this list. I don't know. I think he was great for Spain. Cool. Barcelona, I don't know how great he was there. I just feel like he's too early. I just feel like it's too early for him. What is he, 18, 17? Like, he didn't rip the world apart. He was good. He was a good young midfielder. But by the way, I just want to say, with Pedri, it will get to a point like Jorginho where he'll be playing in the team, but he'll be doing a kind of similar role. And it's like, will he get the credit? Is he as influential? Do you see what I mean? That's what those type of players are. But, you know, I really rate Pedri. Even Modric at Real Madrid. How good has Modric been this year, guys?
I think he's been that good.
Not really.
Surely not.
I don't know about.
In fact, sorry, I forgot the player we were talking about. Modric is Modric. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not going to claim to watch every La Liga game, but when I've watched Madrid this season, for the most part, he's been good, and I think he even started getting a couple more goals this year. Last season when Zidane sort of changed the shape a little bit as well. Was playing like a 4-3-3 more as well. I think Modric is Modric, to get what I'm saying. Like he's another player that I'll be biased against. But even me, I don't think he's been good enough for a Ballon d'Or nomination. I don't think he has been.
I just think there needs to be less names. It seems like there's just too many players on this list.
You're right. I think 30-man shortlist is a lot.
Just do 10. Just do a 10-man shortlist and keep it moving. I don't really see the need for the 30, but it is what it is. Before we wrap up, who have West Ham got this weekend, Corey?
Everton away. Yeah, we've got quite a hectic schedule going on. Yeah, I know, mate. Don't. Rafa Benitez at Goodison Park.
Oh, that's not good.
Can we deal with the core rate? It's a big question. It's a bit disappointing, actually. Obviously, we haven't spoken since the last result when we lost to Brentford 2-1. But there's just a few things in West Ham's game at the minute that, you know, I think teams are clocking it. You press us high. We want to play out from the back all of a sudden. I know we're not good enough to do it. We have to change that, because Everton will look at us and listen. I know he plays 4-4-2 and people say he's defensive, but he'll put Decore high. He'll put Damari Gray. He'll get Townsend. He'll press on him. And I just hope we're not naive. Like you've got to strike that balance. I understand, and I'm happy that we're trying to progress, but you've got to pick it at the right moments. We nearly got done by Leeds exactly the same way. But yeah, it's a tough one. And you guarantee that if Everton win it, they'll all of a sudden be contenders for that top 6 or like for Europa League, because that's what people are talking about now. And fair play to Benitez. He's come in, he's not signed a lot of players, and he's using the players that he's got. Decore has been unbelievable this season. So it's a tough game, mate. And then we've obviously got an easy game the following week against Spurs at home. So
we need to make sure the show is up and running for that one. Let me see. So, I mean, Toby, you've got Newcastle away, as we were saying just before we started. Are you confident going into that one? Obviously, you know the atmosphere is going to be rocking. It's going to be mad. But they're still in the relegation zone, so quality-wise, you should still be able to take over.
No,
don't know where Kane is as well. Didn't have a great game.
I'm not confident, and I remember when we played them last season, when we were having a bad one. I don't think I was confident in that game as well. I'm not confident in this team. I know I was happy against Aston Villa because we played really well in the second half and we actually created chances, but I don't trust this team. I don't trust this team, especially away from home. Off the back of international break, I don't trust them. And I can just tell what type of game it's going to be. Newcastle are going to have their tails up. They're going to be playing in front of the new ownership. The atmosphere is going to be raucous. It's going to be cagey. It's going to be intense. And I just think some of these players are going to fold. I think they're going to fold. But I'm hoping I'm wrong, because you are right. We do have... Sorry, 1 second. I'm just plugging my laptop. Man on man, paper on paper, we have the better side. We have the better manager. We have better resources, and we have more at our disposal to win this game. But something in me is telling me that we're going to struggle with this game, and I think it's either going to be a narrow win or a draw, and I'm edging towards a draw.
Yeah, I obviously we're going to do our predictions on Big Six anyway, but I do think you guys have a bit too much quality, but I think that the issue is the atmosphere. I just don't know. The thing is, though, with Newcastle, now that they've got that takeover, most of those players have become redundant. Like, they're celebrating on Twitter.
You're going to see you later.
They're celebrating on Twitter. I'm like, bro, you're literally finished.
Do you know what? You'll like this. You'll like this. So they did all the pictures. Obviously, Staveley's in the like dressing room meeting themselves, and all I can think in my head is they're like, please just keep me on just for a little bit longer, just in the background, because they know, man. They know they're at the door.
Yeah, like I'm looking at them like, why are you happy? You're literally finished. You're getting
Pay me off.
so quickly. It's like I just looked at them all. Like I looked at them all tweeting, and I thought, do you know what? The only one that is really safe is probably St. Maximum, and maybe Callum Wilson. You know, for because you know he can get goals. Apart from them two, like the rest of the team, you may as well start packing your bags because Steve Bruce has already started. Do you know what I mean? You're just not gonna fit in. So yeah, it's gonna be funny, but yeah, that's it really. I mean, for me, we've got Brentford. That's gonna be difficult. I'm really nervous about that game. Brentford have been really good.
You should be, mate. I'm telling you
Everybody keeps telling me I should be nervous.
Mate, Arsenal, Liverpool, West Ham. I'm telling you now, they did a job on us. Like that's what that Thomas Frank can do. Like he will just figure something out. And Tuchel, to be fair to him, he's good enough as a manager to tweak it, but you have to because he'll come up with a game plan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get, as the week goes closer to the game, talk more about Brentford, but I am definitely nervous going into that. But brilliant show, boys. Obviously, guys, make sure you follow and subscribe to their channels. West Ham Way and TapinTobs is up on the screen there for you. Just type it in. Obviously, there's no live chat. Well, there is a live chat when it premieres, but there's no live chat while we're doing it, so no links in the chat for us right now. But yeah, big up to you guys for the great show, and obviously next week we'll have reaction to the Premier League, and whatever happens. It's going to be somebody's taking an L here, and I'm worried, innit? Because I know my game is difficult as hell, so I know it's going to be a long weekend. But in a bit, people, peace.